So welcome everybody. My name's Julie Dealey and I'm the Director of Operations for Enable Futures. So thank you for dialing into the webinar, and I really do hope that you find it interesting and helps you make some decisions moving forward. Before we start, can I just say, I know most of you have, but can you just mute yourselves? It just prevents noise and feedback from coming through as part of the webinar. If you have any questions at any point, just use the chat facility, ask some questions, and we'll get to them at the end. We are recording the webinar, so just to make you aware of that, if you do ask questions, it is being recorded. And if you do want just a clear version of who's speaking at that point, you can click on Speaker View at the top of your screen, and it does give you just the picture of that person that's speaking, as opposed to the whole of the group. Right, so just to give you a little bit of a background about Enable Futures before the other speakers start. We are very passionate about our apprenticeships and supporting young people to achieve their goals. We've employed around about 360 apprentices, and we've currently got 66 in construction at this point in time. So I'm hoping that after this webinar, you'll get more of an insight into what construction is. It's not just about, getting out on site and being dirty. You will hear later from Amelia about why she decided to be an apprentice, and obviously that it hasn't involved her being outside to a great extent. You can work internally, or you can work in an office. It's not a problem. There also is massive career opportunities as part of being an apprentice in construction. Very easily move into an apprenticeship degree, as Rob will maybe talk about in his bit. And the benefits of that is you're working while you're learning. You're also being funded through the degree by your employer, so you're not going to come out with massive amounts of debt as a result of student loans. We do have apprenticeships at all levels, so we do have level 2s, we have level 3s, but we also have a handful of level 4s and 5s. So level 4 is the old HNC, and the level 5 is the old HND, just so that you're aware. This summer we have around 20 apprentices who are graduating from their current apprenticeship and moving into higher education, so they are going into a level 4 or 5 or into a degree apprenticeship, as Amelia is, and she will talk about that. But the best thing about Enable Futures, or in my opinion, it's the support that we offer to our apprentices. Our development coaches are always there to support people through, to give them a helping hand, whether that's in their personal life, on a work basis, or academically. We don't give up on people. We support them, and Hannah, one of our development coaches, has proved that this time. She's got a number of apprentices finally to finish their apprenticeships who might not have done if Hannah hadn't been there to guide them through and explain exactly what was required and put things in place to enable them to be successful. Right, so that's just my bit. I don't want to bore you too much about Enable Futures, but our first speaker is a guy called Adam Corbally. Unfortunately, he can't be with us at this today. He has sent us a video. It's a very interesting video. Adam is actually a motivational speaker. He's at Ellen Road at the moment, doing his first ever post-COVID-19 presentation in real life. But he sent you a video to watch about his life experiences and how he's managed to achieve and get where he is today through the learning that he's achieved over the last number of years. So here's Adam.
Hi guys, Adam Corbally here, keynote motivational speaker. Thank you so much for joining the Enable Futures webinar today. I'm absolutely delighted to have been asked to come along and speak for you guys and share with you my story. Like a lot of you who will be going on to apprenticeships, I was an apprentice too a few years back for no other than Lord Sugar, and I was on the BBC One TV show The Apprentice. I loved every minute of it. Having a mentor like Lord Sugar and learning from somebody like that helped me massively in my business life and in my personal life as well. So my story wasn't always like that, and my story for you guys today starts when I was probably the same age as most of you. I was in my last year at high school, and I'm sorry to say I wasn't the best student in the class. Class clown, easily distracted, very disruptive, very distracted easily. A rebel without a cause, somebody who thought was a tough guy, somebody who thought he knew it all and was going to take on the world and wouldn't listen to anybody. I had a lot of brilliant teachers, I had fantastic parents trying to help me out, but I knew it all. I wouldn't have any advice from anybody, and I just wanted to be the class clown. My schoolmates thought this was hilarious, but of course the joke was on me, because before you know it, it was exam results day, and I can remember it very clearly, walking down the school drive with all my friends. They opened their exam results, and you know what, they did pretty well. When I opened mine, I got 0. I got nothing whatsoever. My schoolmates thought this was hilarious. My 4 best mates thought this was absolutely funniest thing they'd ever heard. Yeah, it's all right though. We had a laugh though, didn't we, Adam? And I laughed along with them. Although, if I'm honest, and I will be honest with you today, guys, I was dying a little bit inside, because it was me, not them, that had to go home and have a very awkward conversation with my parents that then led to a massive argument that then led to me not only leaving school that day, also leaving home. From there, I got in with some very, very bad people and went down a very, very bad path, which resulted in me ending up in lots and lots of trouble. And all of a sudden, things got very, very serious in my life. Very serious. And I asked for help. For the first time in my life, I asked for help, and it was crazy, because all my life I'd been offered help. I'd been offered help from some brilliant mentors, teachers, parents, people who'd been in business, people who'd been in workplaces, and I'd always thrown it back in the face. Now all of a sudden I found that I was the one asking for help. And what I realised was people were very, very happy to give me help and give me advice. People older than me passing down their life experience and work experience, I suppose, really, really, really helped me change my mindset, change my attitude, start creating opportunities for myself, start being somebody, start being proud of myself. And once I changed my mindset, my whole life literally changed overnight. I started several different businesses across several different industries, and even now at this age now, I'm still using mentors to help me and advise me in every aspect of my life. Now I'm very happy. I've got a lovely family, I've got a fantastic house, my dream house, and we always sit there together as a family, watch our favourite TV show every week on BBC One, and all these idiots are running around trying to win a cash prize and trying to outdo one another and trying to be the best. And I'd sit there with my family with my Sky remote in hand, and I'd pause the show and I'd say, you know what, these guys are terrible. I don't know where they find these idiots. I'm going to go on this show and I'm going to be the best contestant they have ever seen. I'm going to win it. My family said to me, you know what, we're sick of hearing how great you think you'd be on this show. If you think you're that good, why don't you put your money where your mouth is, and why don't you go on it? So I did. Now, I know you guys are thinking you know what that show is, but actually, it's this show. That's right, Total Wipeout. I loved every single minute of that show. Filmed in Buenos Aires, in Argentina, all expenses paid by the BBC, and the winner gets £10,000. When I came home to my little town where I lived, there was a bit of a local celebrity, so I thought, wow, you know what, I'll have a big party to celebrate. Everyone can come and watch me on this show. I rented out my local pub, I put some food on for everybody, I put a disco on, we had karaoke on, everyone came. BBC One, Saturday night, 7 o'clock, the Total Wipeout came on. You all saw me in the qualifier, it got to the final, and guess what? Just like on The Apprentice, I didn't win. I actually got to the final and didn't win Total Wipeout either. In fact, I came second by 10 seconds and missed out on £10,000. But who cares? I had the best time ever. I had so much fun. That was until 4 of my best friends came up to me. And I was like, yes, boys, did you see me? I was great, weren't I? I tried really well for you. And they said, you've dragged us up here for that. You dragged us all the way up here to watch that. You didn't even win. Where'd you get them shorts from that vest? You embarrassed yourself and you embarrassed us. And they slammed the drinks down and they stormed out. And for a split second I was gutted. But that same moment, I had a moment of clarity in my life when I realised that actually these people were not my best friends. These people did not bring out the best version of me at all. And these 4 people did not have my best interests at heart. And as of that moment, I simply spent less time with them people. I didn't fall out with anybody, I just spent less time with them people. And when I did that, my life went from down here to up here. Literally. Overnight. Literally. A lot of young people say to me and they worry about it, Adam, where am I going to be in 5 years? What's my life going to look like? Where am I going to work? How's everything going to be? And the answer's dead easy. It really is easy. You will become a reflection of the 4 people you spend the most time with. So guess what? If you spend time with 4 happy, positive people, you'll be a happy, positive person. You'll create opportunities. You'll have a nice life. You'll have a good attitude, a good mindset. If you spend time with 4 sad, negative people, and you know the sort of people I'm talking about, yeah? The ones that say, well, you're trying to get into that college, they won't have you. You're trying to get that apprenticeship, they won't have you. You're trying out for that team. You won't do that. What are you wearing them shoes for? What are you wearing them jacket for, yeah? Naysayers, fun spongers, yeah? You'll become one. It's dead easy. I wish somebody had told me that 25 years ago. I really, really, really do. So, well done on being on the webinar. You guys do deserve some great opportunities. When I left school, apprenticeships were very, very limited. There was only a few things you could do. The shared apprenticeship scheme available with Enable Futures is fantastic. They will make sure and do their very best to support you through your apprenticeship from start to finish. One thing I can absolutely guarantee you guys is 3 years sounds like a long time, but time does fly, seriously. You know, invest in yourselves, invest in your future. An apprenticeship is absolutely a fantastic option for you to look at. I've got a list, I've been given a list here of some of the brand new apprenticeships available. Construction management, electrical design engineer, landscaping, mechanical engineer, property surveyor, quantity surveyor. The list goes on. Construction is absolutely booming at the moment in the UK. We are got a housing shortage which is unbelievable, and the government have already said we are going to build our way out of this situation that we've ended up in. So supply and demand, which I always use as a rule in business, is the demand for construction and tradespeople, skilled tradespeople, is high, yeah, and the supply is low at the moment. Guys, I invest my time in you, which is the next generation. You are our future, and seriously, 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 please do look at construction as a viable option. As an apprentice, you earn money, which I know all young people want to earn money. And it's not just about earning money, guys. When you start earning money, you start getting money skills, you start getting financial intelligence, you start making money work for you. You're also going to get an education, so you're going to get them all important credentials. So if school wasn't for you, like it isn't for a lot of people, you're still going to be able to get those certificates and qualifications that you need. And probably most important, even more important than those two, you're going to get on-the-job experience, and you're going to learn from craftspeople that have been in your industry for years, and they're going to love to pass their knowledge on to you. Attitude has helped me achieve more than anything in my life, having the right attitude. And the way I got the right attitude and the right mindset was surrounding myself with the 4 best people. I still have mentors in my life. I still have mentors who I look up to, who I go to for advice. I also mentor other people. And an apprenticeship is exactly that. It's part of my house phone's going. It's part of, turn that off, guys. It's part of life. You know, it's the way that we can all absolutely share knowledge, share experiences, help each other to create the best future for ourselves. Thank you so much for listening to me. Guys, please do give me a shout on social media. My social media is at the top. I'm very easy to find. Give me a shout. Let me know what options you're taking, what you're thinking about doing. If there's any questions you want to ask me, please do fire away, guys. Seriously, I wish you all the best of luck with whatever it is you end up doing. Please do stick around for the rest of the webinar, because there's some fantastic professionals coming on to tell you about the specific opportunities for you. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll see you soon.
Great, what a great video from Adam. It does make an interesting point regarding how you are influenced by those around you, particularly at a younger age. And as he says, if you do have any questions, please feel free to get in touch and contact him, and he'll be happy to answer. So our next speaker, the young lady at the top of the screen, Amelia Johnson-Lynch. She's a current Enable Futures apprentice who's just about to complete her level 3 apprenticeship, working with Kirklees Neighbourhood Housing. Amelia's going to talk to you about why she made the decision 2 years ago to become an apprentice and where she sees her future lies moving forward. Thank you, Amelia.
Hi everyone, my name's Amelia. As Julie said, I'm a construction management apprentice with Enable Futures, and I work with Kirklees Neighbourhood Housing, which is a social landlord in Kirklees. So as a construction management apprentice, I do a lot of different things. It's all the technical side of construction, but it's so different, everything I do. It's not specifically one profession, it's a bit of everything. And the purpose of this apprenticeship was then to help me decide what I wanted to specialise in. So mainly what I do is quantity surveying, which is a bit like an accountant, but for a construction site. So you manage all the budgets on site, you put together evaluations of external contractors' rates, and make sure that throughout the project you're not getting overpriced or underpriced, and that the pricing is as I said it would be. And then you pull up the contractors if it isn't. I do a bit of project management, which is basically managing a construction site. So you'll put together a programme of works with the contractor from the beginning. You'll go through it and check, you'll go out on site and check that everything is as it should be and that you're going to complete on time. And if you're not, then you obviously put contractors. You check that safety on site is as it should be with your PPE. And with COVID as well, now it's quite different. There's some new restrictions with social distancing and social bubbles and face masks as well. I also do a bit of building surveying, which is when you go out to a property and you survey it, see what work needs doing. It could include rewires and stuff, because it is mainly social housing I do. It is houses and flats, so it's mainly rewires. Any, like, if it's a conversion, which is what I've been involved in mainly, like knocking through walls or building walls to make it a house or a bedroom instead of it might have been used as a shop before. So in my role, I have a few sites that I've been managing. They're mainly conversions from something that was used as commercially to now residential. So I'm involved with them from the start. I do the planning applications for them, building control, produce the CAD drawings for them, submit it all to planning, and then I manage the projects as well and sign them off once they're finished. And then they get passed on to our voids team for them to be rented out to tenants. So that's a bit about what I do and what construction management is. I'm going to tell you how I ended up in construction and why I chose construction. So I've always known I wanted to do something technical, but at school and college, I was mainly looking at mechanical engineering because that's just what I was interested in really. I had a lot of work experience with 3 different mechanical engineering companies, and I really, really enjoyed it. But it was then going to college that swayed me into construction, because with mechanical engineering, it was desirable or required to have physics. So I did physics at A level. And after doing that, I decided I really, really didn't like it. So it made me reevaluate my choice and think I don't want to do it. I still want to do something technical. So I spoke to a few people that I knew from the construction industry, and they said, why don't you consider construction? So I went when they were building the new Leeds College of Building site. They did like an open event to visit the site. So I went with my mum and I spoke to the project manager there and the quantity surveyor on site. And after having that little bit of experience on the site and speaking to them, it really made me decide that I really enjoy it and I definitely want to go into construction. So after college, I started applying for apprenticeships, and I then was recruited by Enable Futures as a construction management apprentice. What I absolutely love about construction is every day is so different. Like I'll go and have a day planned, but it can end up being so different because you do so many different things. Construction is always changing and it's so dynamic. There's some massive, exciting projects you can be involved with, whether you work in public or private sector. Obviously, they're quite different, but even though I work in public at the moment, we're still doing a lot of new things. I started when they were building their first new builds in 30 years. So this was something new for them and me to watch them build a new build. And they're also doing modular buildings now, which is a new modern way of construction. So it's you're moving with the times, you're still learning new and exciting things. It's just on a smaller scale, but it's still so interesting. And you do learn a lot in construction. I had a bit of work experience with Lloyds Bank investment banking team. And I found when I spoke to people there, I asked them about their qualifications and how they ended up there. And a lot of them had qualifications that you wouldn't necessarily think are relevant to banking. A lot of them came from technical backgrounds such as construction or engineering or civil engineering. But the skills from a role like that are transferable to a job in banking. So that's another thing that made me decide construction as well. Because if I did get a job in construction and I decided I didn't like it, the skills I could gain from a job like that, you can still use in other roles because you learn so much and it's so dynamic. So it's definitely a good industry to go into. And you meet so many construction professionals. On site, I work with a lot of different people, whether it's in office or on site. You meet a lot of different professionals from companies, and it helps you build your own network because it's really important when you get a job to build a network. So if you do want to move on from that company or meet some other people or change your job role within construction, who you know does massively help you develop because you can ask them for advice, whether it's as a mentor or just as a friend, they'll help you and it's really good for your own development. For apprenticeships, obviously you can go to further education through, like Julie said, a HNC, HND, or go to university. But for me, I definitely knew I wanted to do an apprenticeship because I like working and I like earning money as well. And you could get a full-time job, but then you don't get the experience and all your education might not be paid for like you do in an apprenticeship. When I went to college, it wasn't necessarily encouraged as much to get an apprenticeship. There was thousands of students in my college and we had one careers advisor for apprenticeships compared to loads of tutors and loads of advisors for university. So they pushed university as the way forward and that being the most successful way to develop. But it really isn't. With apprenticeships, you get so much experience. You're learning on the job and then you're training at the same time. So you can go to college, learn something and apply it to when you go on site or vice versa. And it puts you at an advantage because you're constantly using what you learn. Whereas if you do a degree, you learn it all and you could easily forget it by the time you get a job in that industry and you're not necessarily guaranteed to get a job in the industry as well, which is another downfall of university because employers, it's a lot more desirable, I'd say, to have experience over qualifications. You obviously need your qualifications as well, but having that experience puts you at a massive advantage because you know what you're talking about. I've had a lot of interviews and initially when I applied before I had experience, it was quite difficult. I kept getting to the interview stages, but competing with people that were older or had experience, it was really, really hard. But after my 2 years with this apprenticeship, and I've got so much experience, it almost puts you at ease a little bit because I've had some interviews recently and from that I got 3 job offers because I just knew what I was talking about and it's so much easier. It puts you at ease and it makes it easy to talk about what you're doing and you've got examples that are specific to that industry and you can show them work you've done and it's really, really good. And the new job that I am going to be starting in October is completely different to the one I'm in now. So it does go up to degree level. and they pay for my chartership as well. Because even though I'm going through the apprenticeship route, I still need a degree and I still want a chartership. So I still will be getting that. It's just doing it a different way. Everything's paid for. You still get a full wage as well, which is great for earning money. And like Adam said, building yourself financially, and you become more independent because you're managing your own money. You're not relying on loans from university or help from your parents. You're just looking after yourself. And it's really good to help develop yourself and build your confidence. And I'd 100% promote apprenticeships to anybody. It's just such a great way to grow yourself and teach other people. I've got a mentor that helps me, and I also mentor 3 other people as well. And I've always been really shy, but from having an apprenticeship, it's just massively helped me grow as a person and meet a lot of people that have helped me as well. And they're just great, especially construction as well. As I said, it's so dynamic and you learn so much. It's really, really good. And if I know there are, particularly for females, construction isn't necessarily something you look at. There's a lot of stereotypes about the construction industry. Like Julie said, you expect you're going to be out on site all the time. I mean, I talk to my friends about it and they think I'm a builder half of the time. They don't actually know what I do. It's only when I tell them what I do, they're like, oh, that's actually quite interesting. So I think if it's something you know, what you think you know about but you don't, speak to someone that you know in construction, ask them about what they do. I know a lot of schools now, they don't really do work experience anymore. So if you see a company, just send them an email or give them a call. There's a lot of companies that are more than happy to take on people for work experience. You just need to do it yourself. And that also shows that you're quite ambitious and you want to learn by doing that. And it's quite positive for you to do that anyway. And it helps, like, again, build your network as well. But I'd 100% encourage apprenticeships and construction. Thank you for your time.
Great, thank you for that, Amelia. Really, really good. And as I agree with Amelia, her confidence levels have massively increased during the 2 years that she's been with us and been part of the apprenticeship. And what she says about networking and making contacts within the industry, it is quite key. A lot of people within construction, you know, they don't stay with the same company for life. They move around quite a lot, and it's all about gaining experience to enhance your skills, because what you might be doing in one company is completely different to what another company is doing. So Amelia is very correct in there. And from a female point of view, just looking at the names of some of you who are on this webinar, there appears to be quite a number of females, which is really, really good to see, because you know, construction does have a massive male influence. There are not that many females within construction. So the fact that, you know, there are a number of females on this call who are expressing an interest in construction, I really hope that you learned from Amelia and understood more about what she does. And like her friends, you don't just think she's a builder. You know, what she does is really interesting, and it isn't the stereotypical construction. Right, so our final speaker is Rob Smith. He's the apprentice manager at Leeds College of Building. So Leeds College of Building is the biggest college in the country that is specifically for construction. And he's going to give you lots of information, lots of advice about apprenticeships that can be delivered and the careers that they can lead to. Thank you, Rob.
Hello, everybody. As Julie just mentioned, my name is Rob Smith. I'm the apprenticeship manager at Leeds College of Building. Just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I've worked for the college for 16 years, always within the apprenticeship department. I've done various jobs, and you know, looking after and supporting apprentices was my very first role. And the whole apprenticeship culture is what keeps me doing what I do. You know, seeing the success of so many apprentices and being able to support people along the way has been a fantastic calling for me. As Julie said, I work for Leeds College of Building. They're the largest construction college in the UK.
Rob, I think we're losing your signal.
Yes, I've lost the screen completely. Apologies. If you can still hear me, I will carry on.
Yes.
So Leeds College of Building are the, yeah, lovely. Leeds College of Building are the only construction
Right. It appears that Rob's signal has disappeared. We had a bit of a run through earlier this morning, and the same happened then. So we think he must be in a bit of a down area. He will try to get back on. So what we'll do to whilst we're waiting to see if Rob can get back in, is we'll look and see if there are any questions. So there were some good comments about Adam's video and how good that was. I hope you all enjoyed that. We are going to look to get it on our website, on the Enable Futures website. If you want to look at it again, or if you want to advise someone else to look at it. It's a very large, as you can imagine, so we're just struggling with it at the moment, but we will get it on there. So with regards to Amelia, there's some really good comments about how very uplifting it was. Well done, Amelia. Very insightful. Yeah, how encouraging it was to hear how she chose her apprenticeship. So what Amelia said about her original thoughts about what she wanted to do as an apprentice, actually, when she wasn't able to do, she needed the physics, that wasn't actually what she enjoyed. So the fact that she actually went to a construction site and spoke to someone about what the role was sort of key in making Amelia's decision. So if any of you are interested, if you know anybody that works in construction, or if you want to get in touch with me, we obviously work with a lot of contractors in the area. We can try to put you in touch with people who, if they can't offer you work experience, what they might be able to do is just have a call with you and talk to you about construction and what it's like. But if you can actually source some work experience yourself, that's always a positive. Right, has anybody got any other questions? Is anybody seriously interested in construction? I mean, obviously Amelia's talked about the technical professional side of construction. There is obviously the trade side. So we have apprentices in bricklaying, groundworks, joinery, plumbing, electrical. So there's lots of those types of apprenticeships where you work with your hands. Some of them you do work outside, some of them you do work inside. So there's a massive difference in the different types of apprenticeships that you can actually obtain. There's
a couple of questions in the inbox.
Yeah, can you share the types of apprenticeships available in construction? So from just spoke about some of them. We have civils. Civils is a really popular apprenticeships at the moment. So civils it's either working on roads, it's working on bridges, railways, or waterways, so rivers, canals, and in the production of water, so Yorkshire Water, for example. There's all sorts of different types of civils careers. Then obviously you have your trade apprenticeships, which is what I've just been speaking about, and then the QS. So Amelia says the QS is the accountant of a construction site. You can be a mechanical engineer, so you can be designing electrical or plumbing ways of working within a building. So you imagine a big building's going to be going up, so a big shopping centre, for example. So somebody has had to sit down and design how all the electrics within that building, so not just one shop, but there might be 50 shops within that building, plus a swimming pool or a cinema or whatever. So somebody has had to sit down and design every single electrical socket, light, and how the electric's going to get there. And likewise, someone will have had to have done the same with all the plumbing. So design, where is the pipe work going to go? How is that going to look? So that is a brilliant trade. I mean, obviously using CAD to be able to produce those, using BIM. So BIM is modelling. So in a lot of buildings now, they actually produce a 3D design of what the building's going to look like, and it does it on every level. So from sort of ground level up to ceiling level and into the roof, about how that building will look, where all the electrical things will be, where all the plumbing will be. And so it's easier for the contractor to actually build that building and adhere to the designs of it. With regards to pay, all apprenticeships are different. Some apprenticeships do pay national wage for age. Some pay the apprenticeship minimum wage, which at the moment is £4.15 an hour. But you can earn up to £8, £9, £10 an hour on an apprenticeship. But it's not necessarily about pay. It's about getting the experience that you need. So you've got to think long term. You've got to think that, yes, I could get a job in McDonald's or in a supermarket, and I could possibly earn more than what I'm earning at the moment on my apprenticeship. But your earnings potential on your apprenticeship will go through the ceiling. So you will earn so much more money. So you may start off earning slightly less, but you will end up earning more. And as Amelia rightly said, working in McDonald's, although there's nothing wrong with that, working in a supermarket, your earnings potential is not necessarily going to increase at the same rate. So that is what you need to think about when you're doing an apprenticeship. Think about the bigger picture and where you're going to be in 3, 4, 5 years' time. I know when we advertise our vacancies, we will always put in there about what the potential earnings potential is in 5 years' time, so that people can get an idea about where their future can lie. So yeah, I guess in construction you get to leave a long-term physical legacy. So yeah, in construction it is a very transient industry by the very nature, the fact that you're building something new and then you have to move on to build something else. So there is a massive part of the construction sector where you can work away from home if you choose to do that, or even in other countries. I've spoken to quite a number of individuals that have ended up working in Dubai or Saudi Arabia or South America, places where construction companies work. So if that is something that you're interested in, then construction is something that is a possibility. You don't have to. It's not that all companies do that, but it is a possibility if that is something that interests you. But it's got very the skills, transferable skills. So it might be that you work in construction and then you decide maybe it's not for you and you want to take those transferable skills and move them into a different sector. Well, that is possible. It's also possible vice versa. You might have actually started an apprenticeship or started working in a job in a different sector, but the skills that you're learning in that sector are transferable over into construction as well. So it's very transferable skills. I work in health, and it's very common to use different apprenticeships as an entry route into higher paid roles. Go for it. Yep, thank you. It is. You don't have to stay in the sector that you're working in. You are going to be working for a very long time. For those of you that are leaving school, possibly not going to be retiring until you're maybe 70 years old. So it's not, there are opportunities to move, and there are opportunities to transfer into different sectors. So don't think just because you're going to get a job somewhere, you have to stay in that sector for life. There are opportunities to move on and move around. Doesn't appear that Rob's managed to get back, so I really do apologise about that. His internet connection at home must be having a bad time today. So what I'll try and get Rob to do is put something down on paper that he was going to say. I'm assuming that he had got some sort of presentation written down anyway, and we'll email it out to everybody who's on the call today, or everybody who expressed an interest in dialing in, so that you can actually see what Rob was going to say. But the College of Building is a great college. we as a company use the college massively. We have a large proportion of our apprentices that go to the college. But it's not just about apprenticeships. If you are struggling with apprenticeships in today's in today's environment with COVID-19, there may be not as many apprenticeship opportunities out initially, and that's because obviously companies are slightly worried about taking on new staff. So the college and other colleges do offer full-time training courses. So it might be, so the course that the apprenticeship that Amelia did, you can actually do that as a full-time student. So it's not as good, in my opinion, and I hope in Amelia's opinion too. You're not getting the actual experience of in work, but you are still learning. So you can still do that, and then hopefully keep applying for apprenticeships. And then what the college can do is transfer you from the full-time part into an apprenticeship. So say if you started doing the course that Amelia did, or if you started the course as a plumber, a level 3 plumber, then if you continue to look for work as an apprentice, you can be transferred from the full-time course onto an apprenticeship. So it's not going on to full-time training, it's not the end of the world. And Rob's back with us, by the looks of things. Rob, can you hear me? You're on mute.
I have sound.
Can you give us a condensed version of what you was going to say? What I've said to everybody is, if you had something down in writing, what we'd ask you to do is we can email it out to everybody.
Yes, absolutely. And apologies everyone for my failing IT. I'm trying my iPad now, so I think we're good to go. I did actually get to the end of my piece, so I've said everything I need to say, but I'm going to go again. Basically, what I was saying, and forgive me because I don't know how far I got before I finished, apprenticeship growth is phenomenal at the moment. It's absolutely phenomenal. The apprenticeship has gone from strength to strength. My advice is to probably not to doubt what some people think. Amelia mentioned earlier about construction, how interesting it is, how it's not just about being on site all the time. There's such a variety. There's such a variety of apprenticeships available now at so many different levels. You can start an apprenticeship at level 2 and go right through to degree level. And you may have heard people in the past who've gone to university and come away with, family members have come away with thousands of pounds worth of debt that they'll be paying for a long time. With apprenticeship, the government are funding it through your employer funding as well, and it means that you get where you want to be, qualified to the level you want, in the area you want, with the experience and knowledge that you've accrued from day one, and you don't come out with a bill at the end of it, which is, it's absolutely phenomenal. As Amelia mentioned, the experience that you accrue through the various roles that you do at various levels of apprenticeship, you take that with you wherever you go, and to interviews, as Amelia said, you understand the role that you're applying for such a lot more than potentially doing a flat course in a college or university environment. And employers are absolutely recognising that. They're recognising that their apprentices are now teaching their graduates when they come in. And it's fantastic for us because we're seeing our apprentices working for some really big employers, teaching the next generation, whilst they're on apprenticeship as well. So they become mentors before they've even got to the end of their course, which is phenomenal again. With regard to apprenticeships and the funding, I don't want to go too deep into it, only to say that large employers are already paying into a government levy to pay for apprenticeship training. So in terms of potential barriers through cost to employers, the government have done the best to remove that. Small employers are only paying a very small amount towards apprenticeships. So they've also introduced some very recent incentive payments for employers. if you've been anywhere near the government websites or information websites, you will have seen that young people are now 16 to 24, sorry, are getting an additional £2,000 for the employer, and then anybody 25 plus is at £1,500. So there's that added incentive to employers, particularly at this period where we've all been a little uncertain. There's that added incentive to take on apprentices. Now, just sort of reflecting on the situation the country finds itself in, construction was one of the very, very first industries to get back to it. The work doesn't go away, the work is still there. You know, there's a massive shortage of people in construction, whether that be tradesmen, whether that be architects, whether that be building services engineers. There's a massive shortage out there. It's a fantastic time to do it. The government are funding it as far as they can. So it's good for employers, it's good for you. Just really to close with saying, if you don't manage to find employment, don't panic. Please don't panic. We at Leeds College of Building, and I'm guessing at most providers, we have a team of work placement officers dedicated to the students who are looking for work. We have lots of employers coming to us, asking us to populate their vacancies. So not obtaining employment to start at apprenticeship, still go for the course you want. You know, if you're set on it, you know, or even if you just want to see how it feels, apply for that course. We'll work with you when you're there, and ultimately we will do our best working alongside you to get you into employment and get you onto the apprenticeship that you want. I'm hoping you recorded with the longer winded version, if you got it all, Julie, and I'm sure it'll be shared. But honestly, any questions you've got at all, please ask. I'm more than happy to have a chat with you about any aspect of it.
Great, thanks, Rob. I don't think we got most of it. You disappeared almost right from the start. But we have a question that you might be able to
Certainly.
answer. Had a question about what qualifications you need to enter an apprenticeship, and maybe those who have got learning disabilities, people with autism, how are they likely to achieve?
Right, okay, so in terms of qualifications, that would depend entirely on where your start point was, where you saw your start point. To go on, let's say if you wanted to be a bricklayer or a joiner or a plasterer, then potentially, you know, we'll take you based on an interview, if that's what you want to do and you've got an employer to take you there. The higher education courses tend to come with qualification entry criteria as opposed to an entry test. So we'd be looking for 4 GCSEs at the start point. The start point for higher education is usually level 3, because the underpinning knowledge that you need to then move into higher education is all delivered at level 3. So to get on a level 3 apprenticeship, we'd be looking for grade 4 or above in new money on English, Maths, Science and one other, which would allow you entry to that apprenticeship. We're happy to work with you. Experience counts. I think it's something else Amelia or Adam had said before. Experience really counts. We don't just shut the door. We'll look at every individual case. So if you've got work experience, then we will just sit down and have a chat about that and see what we think. It's quite difficult to start a construction hire apprenticeship without, let's say, a level 3 construction apprenticeship background or some good experience, because the units that you'd work on are quite unique. So construction maths, you may not have come across anything like that before. This is why I'm saying the level 3 is generally the start point for the higher education, but it gives you the option to get that underpinning knowledge, prepare properly for the higher education side of things, where it's all assignment based practically. So yeah, in terms of supporting learning difficulties or disabilities, the college are extremely well geared up for that, with a very extensive ILS department, inclusive learning support department, who prior to a student joining us, we're obviously made aware by the student of their particular needs, and we make sure that everything that we can do is done to get rid of the barriers, basically, to make sure that they have the same opportunity and the same learning experience as any other student. So yeah, we do that from an application form and have that set up from day one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just one thing, particularly for school leavers, if you haven't got level 2 maths and English, when you leave school, that will become part of your apprenticeship as well. So
yeah.
The college does have to cover level 2 functional skills. At the moment, there's a bit of a hold on that, isn't there, Rob, with COVID-19?
There is. However, I don't see that being any different from September. When you come to us as an apprentice, we would be required, well, we are required to add maths and English to your apprenticeship. What I would say is it's on an apprenticeship, it's functional skills, it's not GCSE. And what tends to happen is you're taught maths and English in the context of the course that you're doing. Now, I remember doing GCSEs, it was a while ago, but I still remember doing GCSEs, and I remember being taught how to add apples and oranges up, just for example. When you come to us and we're doing a functional skill, you're looking at maths and English in a construction environment. We make it as contextual as possible, and what we find is that then becomes more interesting just by the nature of the fact that it's something the student is interested in from the off. So, you know, we have a lot of success with maths and English at college.
Great, okay. Thanks for that, Rob. One of the other questions is about apprenticeship programs for older students and or adults. Rob, yeah.
Apprenticeships are available to everyone. The government have made it available to everyone. It literally is, I'm going to make it sound really easy, it's not, but finding employment. Once you've got an employer who wants to put you through an apprenticeship, or if you work for somebody already who wants to put you through an apprenticeship, they can obtain the same funding as almost the same funding as a younger person. So it's kind of removed that barrier as well, the finance barrier. So again, larger companies are already paying what's called the apprenticeship levy. The government take money off them every month. They put it in an electronic pot, and that company can only recover that money by buying apprenticeship training from a provider like Leeds College of Building. For the smaller employers, the government are asking them to pay 5% of the cost of the apprenticeship. So it's much reduced. We go even further at Leeds College of Building. If you're on a 2-year course, we'll break that 5% down into 2 instalments, just to make it easier for the employer, to encourage them to, to make that payment. So yeah, there's lots of opportunity regardless of age. And if I told you we had a 63-year-old electrician on course at the moment, that would be my example.
Yeah, it's you do often hear people, and I must admit I do fall into this trap sometimes, about young people and apprenticeships. They are open to any age group. I think the reason why often you find quite a lot of them are taken by younger people is sometimes it's the wage that's attached to the vacancy that people are applying for, and young people tend not to do independent living and don't necessarily need a certain amount of income to be able to take a particular job. So I think a lot of it is around that, but in theory and with regards to the college and the funding through the government, you can be an apprentice at any age.
Yeah, you just need to watch out. There is the funding rule that says that an employer has to pay the apprenticeship minimum wage regardless of age. So in year one, and as Julie alluded to, if you have responsibilities as an adult, which most of us do, obviously you've got to find an employer who's going to pay you at least the minimum wage, for example, to make ends meet, really. So yeah, just watch out for that.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's the end of the questions from what I can see. Have we answered everybody's question? Is there anything that anybody's put that I've missed or that we've not answered, or you want to ask further questions regarding? You can take yourself off mute if you want to ask it in person. It's not a problem. Right, that's great. So what we'll try to do, what we might, I will send Rob's presentation out, what he was going to say, the whole thing to everybody, and we will put the video of Adam on our website or even on YouTube, should Adam give us permission to do that. But we will make sure we can get it out there in some shape or form. So I just want to say thank you, and for dialing in. Just one thing, obviously, unfortunately, when choosing a career path, it's not always easy as just saying to yourself, what is it that I want to do? Then one of the main questions you need to ask yourself is, what jobs are out there? So it's okay trying to choose a career by what things that interest you, but there might not be any jobs within that sector. So sort of try and combine the two. At the moment, as Adam indicated, the construction sector does have a massive skill shortage, and the Prime Minister is now looking to get the country back on its feet by using the construction sector and investing a lot of money. So we do need skilled people to be able to come through and, in 5 years to be the future of our construction sector. Right, well, thank you everybody, and thank you for dialing in, and I'm sorry for the disruption, but we got there in the end. Okay, take care everybody, thank you, bye-bye.